Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Yuliana Sari. I'm from English Education from Raden, Intan, Lampung. Now I want to explain about genre analysis on reading passage in textbook analysis with Miss Firma, Pradesta, Amanah, M.Pd. First, before we know about genre analysis on reading passage, we have to know about genre. What is genre? According to Chopper, genre means a type or a category of text, and according to Highland, genre is a group of text that is used to represent the meaning of the situation that has been told by the writer. The word genre comes from the French and originally Latin root for kind or class. The term is widely used in rhetoric, literary theory, media theory, and more recently linguistics to refer a distinctive type of text. In short, genre is type of written text that is organized by its own feature. The feature are communicative purpose, generic structure, and language feature. The different genre gives different social power. After we know about genre, now move to genre analysis. Genre analysis is analyzing and investigating the linguistic and non-linguistic feature and element of different resources. Therefore, genre analysis is analyzing feature of different texts. Analysis genre cannot only focus on the informational content of the text as such, but on the feature and convention used which make the text look or appear similar to other texts. For the explanation listed above, it can be said that the genre analysis is a useful instrument in unfolding and connecting the linguistic features of a genre to their function and purpose. It provides a technique to identify moves and linguistic features found in genres. It's about genre analysis. Now we move to the 6 of genre analysis. According to Ayer in Highland, genre analysis seeks to first identify how texts are structured in terms of functional moves. Second, identify the features which characterize texts and help realize their purposes. Third, examine the understanding of those who write and read the genre. Fourth, discover how the genre relates to user activities. Fifth, explain language choices in terms of social, cultural, or psychological context. And last, provide insight for teaching language. Now, it's about genre analysis. Now we move to the reading. What is reading? Noonan said that reading is a set of skills that improves making sense and deriving meaning from the foreign word. Reading is one of language skills that should be developed. It is really important to be taught because by reading, a student can get much information from any written text such as book, magazine, newspaper, or something else. It explained that in reading, There are some skills that the reader should have in order to understand the meaning of text itself, such as recognizing the symbols of language. Okay, after we know about reading, the next is text. What is text? Text is a record of verbal or non-verbal in communication. In other words, it is not only in the form of written, but also it can be in spoken form. It's about text. Now, we move to the main of our discussion topic. Genre of reading text. There are some definitions proposed by some linguists about the term of genre, and all of those definitions related to the text which have different characteristics. According to N. Friedman, first, genre is an organizing concept for our cultural practice. Second, any field of genres constitutes a network of contrast according to a variety of parameters. Third, genre is place, occasion, function, behavior, and instructional structure. It is very rarely useful to think of it as a kind of text. Fourth, cultural competence implies knowing the appropriateness principle for any genre, knowing the kind of margin you have with it, being able to vary it, knowing how to shift from one to another and how many factors would be included in any such shift. Genre is really important in reading skill. It will affect the student comprehension in reading skill because it provides the picture of a text to help the student identify a text. Understanding genre means that the student is easier to interpret the text because each genre has different social function, generic function, and linguistic feature. The characteristic is really useful for a reader to understanding a text because it explains how text is organized. According to Elderson, that having knowledge about organized text is same as having knowledge about how the information is signed and how change of content might be marked, and it facilitates the reader to read. And now we move to the kind of genre in reading text. There are spoof, recount, report, exposition, news item, anecdote, narrative, procedure, description, explanation, review, discussion text, and another. In this kind of genre in reading text have a different social function, generic function, and linguistic feature. Linguistic feature. Here I will give you the example for genre analysis in reading passage. The first is a procedure text. Procedure text is a text that tells the reader or listener how to do something. There have structure. The first, goals. It is the introductory statement or title of the text. Second, materials. They are things that needed to complete the goal. They are set of ingredients or the material required. And the last steps, they are the way to achieve the goal. The steps may be accompanied by illustration or diagrams to assist the reader with the task at hand. And for the language feature of procedure text, they are first using action verb. Verbs are in the simple present tense and also set as imperatives. Like example, take 2 slices of bread. Second, using adverbs. Example, add the remaining ingredients slowly. Third, using temporal connective. We can also use numbering to indicate sequence. For example, first melt the butter. Fourth, using conditional connectives. Example, if you mix the ingredients carefully, there won't be any lumps. Fifth, using modality. Like example, you must stir it until it's mixed. It's about genre analysis in procedure text. Now about descriptive text. The text tells the reader a picture of someone or something in order. Descriptive text has structure. First, identification. It is opening paragraph that introduces the subject. It identifies phenomenon to be described. Second, description. It describes picture of subject. It describes part, qualities, and characteristics of the subject. Language feature of the descriptive text. There are first, it focuses on describing specific participant. Like example, Borobudur temple or cats or bird, like that. Second, it uses present tense. Like example, Borobudur is located near Magelang. Third, it uses relational verb. Is, are, has, have, like that. Example, turtle do not have teeth. They have a sharp beak instead, like that. And the fourth, it uses action verb. Like example, the queen lays the eggs. The fifth, it uses adjective and compound adjective. Like example, he has a cool hairstyle. And the last, it uses adverbs. Like example, he could think clearly. It's a genre analysis about descriptive text. And now move to the last example. It's about recount text. Recount text is a piece of text that tells past events. Usually it is the order in which they occurred. Recount text has a structure. The first is orientation. It provides the setting and introduces participant. Second, sequence of event. It tells what happened in time sequence. And the last, reorientation. It's optional. It is closure the event or summary of the event. The language feature of the context are first, it focuses on specific participant. Like example, I went to Jakarta with my family. Second, it is Raden in past tense. Like example, we visited our relatives there. Third, it focuses on temporal connectives. Like example, we then looked at some games and equipment. The fourth, It use circumstance of times and place. Like example, in the first day, my uncle took me to Taman Mini Indonesia Indah. And last, it use action verb and mental verb. For example, my family and I went to Jakarta to visit my family. It's about the genre analysis of reading passage. Okay, I think enough for my explanation. I say thank you very much for your good attention. I say sorry if my explanation not perfect, and I think enough. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.